Hey guys, Ranger here, and welcome back. This is the 25th episode, part 1 of the 2-part Season 7 finale, Shadow Play. And, oh boy. Okay, what I'm going to do with this episode is, instead of doing both episodes together, I'm going to do both parts separately and do a review. Do my normal thing after both, instead of doing them both together, because it will be easier to do it that way instead of having a 2-hour-long video. So, if I do it a different way, it will be. So, let's go ahead and start. I'm very nervous. I have no idea. I have no idea what happens in this episode. I have managed to avoid all spoilers with this. I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm really, as Pinky says, I'm nervous-sided about this. I really have no idea what's going to happen. I don't know what this is about. I don't know anything at all. So let's begin. Start video in 3, 2, 1, click. Wait, that's the book.
Within us can spread light and virtue, and I know ponies who represent
Starswirl the Bearded. You're Starswirl the Bearded. Wait.
Bravery, healing, beauty,
wait a minute.
Hope and sorcery.
Starswirl.
Myself and these pillars of Equestria were gathered together by another to maintain and share the light of these powerful ideals. But we soon came to believe the pony who brought us together only wanted that power for himself. Cast out and alone, this power-mad pony turned to darkness to satisfy his thirst. Transformed into a pony of shadows, he returned for revenge, to extinguish the pillar's light and rob the world of hope. To stop him, the pillars and I must make a brave sacrifice. But we shall leave behind a seed, in hopes that one day it will grow into a force to stand against the darkness for all time. We must now face the fiend with the only plan we have.
I only hope it will be enough. That's the last entry, and maybe Starswirl's final words before he vanished.
Oh my gosh! Okay, so, already, there's a very big bomb drop, right? Hey, Derp. This Starswirl the Bearded, he found the book, so we're actually getting some discussion about Starswirl the Bearded. Finally! Now, I just remembered, there was one thing that I was spoiled. I do remember seeing some of the other characters from those flashbacks from the Campfire Tales in, like, present-day Equestria. But that was a promo I remember seeing. I remember seeing that on TV. That's the only thing I remember.
A discovery, Sunburst.
So, it's genuine? You can verify that this journal really belonged to Starswirl the Bearded?
Indeed. From the looks of
And
it,
Twilight has a wing boner.
Before facing the Pony of Shadows.
So the Pony of Shadows was really real?
It appears so. We never met the other pillars, and we were too young to understand the danger they faced.
Hold on a second now. All those legendary ponies were real too, and they went off with Starswirl to face the Pony of Shadows, and then none of them were ever heard from again?
Yeah, weren't you listening? But what happened to them all? They must have defeated the villain, since Equestria is still full of light and hope.
But how? And where did they go?
My old ponish is a bit rusty, but I wonder if the answers can be found somewhere within the pages of this book.
Well, I just happen to be an expert in Old Ponish. I mean, I practically memorized every ancient text about Starswirl there is.
Seriously, all of them. We have fond memories of our old teacher. If you could discover what happened to him, we would be most grateful.
Solving a thousands-year-old mystery could take forever. Think of the research, the rereading,
3, 2, 1, Twilight.
You might find you need help.
Luckily, she's got a whole bushel of helpers right here.
Totally. How long will all this research take exactly? Let's get this back to my library. I'm sure we'll figure out what happened in no time.
This is going to be interesting.
Uh,
Dang.
Figure it out yet, Twilight?
cute.
What did you figure out?
You figured something out? What is it? Nothing. I mean, Starswirl was a genius, obviously. But forget old Ponish. There's parts where his horn writing is like another language. Oh.
Twilight.
So a rainbow like a book, like a book cap.
Cross-referencing for 3 days straight now.
I haven't spent this much time reading since the last Daring Do book came out.
Perhaps it is time to take a break. This mystery is over 1,000 years old after all. Another day or two won't make a difference.
2 days? I don't want to waste 2 seconds. I'm close to an answer. I can feel it.
Hirk Silphum se Ponehenge. What's that?
Stonehenge.
The Temple of Ponehenge? You can read that?
The horn writing's pretty sloppy, but it's nowhere near as bad as mine. Tawar dul Grimnik of Fola Firgenborg?
At the base of Full Mountain.
Usur Endemest Shield.
Our last stand.
Well,
I love the atmosphere in
sure
this
sounds
episode.
Like a clue to me.
Whoa!
This is it. Ponehenge. I can't believe it.
I've never seen magical runes like these before. Have you?
Watch out, there could be a spell that
I don't think any pony's seen
could blow
any of
ice or
this
fire at you, like in
Long
Skyrim.
time.
Ow!
It'd take a whole team of ponies to clear away all this brush.
I'm not sure we'd find out what happened here over 1,000 years ago.
You're right. I suppose it was a long shot.
Cheer up, Twilight. Finding a whole set of ancient ruins is pretty impressive. Or maybe you could write a paper on it.
I guess I hoped we'd get here and the mystery would just magically be explained.
Nope. Or
Twilight?
you could do something like Full Metal Alchemist. Starswirl. Oh my.
Starswirl? I've wanted to meet you my whole life. I can't believe you're here.
I don't think it's a hologram.
I don't think he is here. I don't think any of them are.
That's.
You summon me at your peril, Starswirl. Once I defeat all of you, this realm will embrace the darkness, as I did so long ago.
This is like recorded of what happened to them, isn't it?
Drawing me here will only make me stronger. You will never defeat me.
We did not come here to defeat you.
Seal him away?
We came to contain you.
So that was what happened to them last.
Well, you did ask for a magical explanation.
So they didn't defeat him, they just contained him.
What just happened?
It looked like Starswirl cast a spell that banished the Pony of Shadows.
But banished themselves with it.
Powerful magic like that would leave an impression on this place. Bringing the book back here let us see what happened.
Which was what?
Starswirl and the rest of the pillars sacrificed themselves to save Equestria.
That was beautiful.
It's amazing to think one of the greatest mysteries of Equestria was solved with a musty old book from an antique shop.
But I wouldn't say the mystery's solved. Starswirl's spell was one of the most powerful feats of magic in all of history. It'll take years of study before we fully understand it.
3, 2, 1.
I think I understand Starswirl's spell. I know I finished one of Starswirl spells before, but this one was on a whole different level. Was it an explosion of magical feedback? An evocation? A kind of incantation? It's Starswirl, so the possibilities are endless. And once Starlight set me on the right track with his crazy horn riding, I mean, he was a genius.
That little snort.
A little messiness. I went through the journal again, and it's amazing.
Twilight, darling, we understand you're excited, but that's all we understand.
What exactly is so amazing?
Only how Starswirl and the other pillars sent the Pony of Shadows to Limbo.
Limbo!
What now?
And it,
They used
a place
their magic to
between
open a portal
dimensions.
worlds, to Limbo, and pulled the Pony of Shadows inside.
Darling, your diorama!
I made more. Starswirl thought the only way to trap the Pony of Shadows in Limbo was for the pillars to take him there.
Huh.
So they got stuck too.
The Pony of Shadows must have been really awful for them to do that.
I suppose being trapped for all time with a super duper bad guy in Limbo might be okay if you were doing the Limbo, but that's still pushing it. The thing
Pinky.
is, I think I can get them out.
Twilight, are you serious? You can save the most legendary ponies of all time?
I don't know.
Sounds like a
Opening portals
risk.
between worlds didn't work out well for me. Are you sure it's safe?
No.
First of all, you opened portals through time. And second of all, Starswirl wrote the spell you used to do it. If he'd been here, he could have stopped it. Equestria would be safer with him in it. We have to save him.
But you'd be saving all the pillars, right? And they disappeared ages ago.
That's the thing about Limbo. It isn't one place or another. It's in between, so time stands still. If we can pull them out, it'll be like they never left.
Yeah, but...
I actually built another model to demonstrate.
What can we do to help?
But...
If I'm right, we need to find items that are connected to the pillars in some way.
You mean like stuff that belong to them?
How would we know what to look for?
You already found some
Or
of them.
where?
Luckily, Starswirl took a lot of notes. My compatriots are as varied as the realm itself, and hail from every corner of our land, bringing with them artifacts and talismans of great power.
Twilight? What are you doing?
I'm not doing anything.
Whoa.
Rockhoof's shovel.
Flash Magnus's shield! Miss Maine's flower!
It's showing where they're located.
His mask!
And the blindfold Somnambula wore when she faced that nasty Sphinx! I guess we don't need to figure out who should get what.
Oh, archaeological digs. Hey, it's her! Oh my gosh!
Legends don't wear helmets. This belonged to a real pony.
Oh, I can guarantee Rockhoof was as real as you and me.
And I
Yeah, we get to see her come back.
Levine was stuck with his trusty shovel to save the village from an erupting volcano.
Probably.
I love old legends as much as any pony, but a pony strong enough to save a village from rushing lava with a shovel is preposterous.
Oh my!
I can't believe you just did that. You saved us.
I bet if you told some pony else the story, it might sound preposterous.
Their face! What on?
I suppose some stories might be true.
Whoa!
And Rockhoofs appears to be one of them.
Are we in Japan? Not Japan, Japan. Oh, wow. Ow.
You keep those hooves to yourself, dearie. This place has been in my family for generations, and I'm not about to let some whippersnapper take the last good piece of it. Time-wise, ponies came from far and wide to see these gardens. But that flower's the only worthwhile thing left.
I knew Rarity was into agriculture. Whoa!
Perhaps it just like your gardens were worthless, but a little pruning can work wonders.
Whoa!
Of course, you will have to look after more than just one flower now.
You've given me back my family's legacy. The flower you wanted seems like a fair treat.
You know, I'm seeing there's a connection between each of the characters that is doing what they're doing here.
Flash Magnus's shield ended up in the Dragonlands.
Good thing you brought the official equestrian friendship ambassador to the dragons to help you navigate our customs. Like our favorite sport, gorge surfing!
Okay, that was awesome! Dragon Lord Ember commanded us to make peace with ponies, but it doesn't mean you can surf in our spot.
Whoa, fellas! As the official equestrian friendship ambassador to the dragons, I have to say that's not very friendly.
Well, what do you know? The puny pony dragon sticking up for his pony pal.
Dude! Hey!
Hey! That's an ancient pony artifact!
Hooves off my gorge board!
Dude.
I found it in the desert, and finders keepers.
It isn't yours!
Huh, it sure looks like mine, but I might consider racing you for it.
Fine.
No problem!
No. I mean, you.
Why? Tried to get beat by a girl? Pansy.
On your marks, get set!
Yep. Rarity is about beauty, which is what the other character was about. Applejack was about strength, which is what Thunderhoof was about. There's a connection. Every character is related to that. I wonder if that's like every single one of these characters are like that's their ancestor.
Anything about pony-loving dragons.
Since Dragon Lord Ember commanded you to make peace with ponies, you can't very well attack
Spike,
one of their
that doesn't work with everybody.
I guess we'll find out.
Just punch him in his face. Yes! Ha! Go Rainbow. He deserves more than that.
Behind ponies.
I wasn't hiding when I beat you down the ridge.
You fell.
Wow! You must be slow if all Spike had to do to win was fall down.
I'm faster than you.
Doubt it.
Fine. I'll race you back to the top. If you win, you can have your pony junk. But if I win, you'll leave and I get to give it to him.
Fine. I'm pretty sure I could beat you anyway, but with that heavy hunk of metal on your back, it'll be a snap.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Thanks for the tip. See you at the top, loser!
3, 2, 1.
Finders keepers, remember? See, because that's what you said to them when they first showed up.
Dude! No! Karma bit you on your nutsack! You deserve that. You can dish it out, but you can't take it. Suck it!
Flash bees can get pretty aggressive. I guess that's why none of the other bayou animals can get to the water.
Ah! Little snakes.
Wouldn't it make more sense
Not
for
snakes,
you to wear the
snakes.
mask that calms the bees?
It would. If I didn't have to fly up here to move their hive. There. Now the other bayou creatures can get to the water without the bees feeling threatened.
You know, you didn't have to help with this. I would have lent you the mask anyway.
I know, but I couldn't leave without helping.
I don't think
Again, they're
anybody
connected.
can find anything in there.
I wouldn't give up.
Dingo! Whoa!
This old blindfold was stuck in the drain.
Weren't you looking for a blindfold?
Oh, yeah.
Pinky, you're standing on radioactive, and now she's
Even
radioactive.
Starswirl the bearded. You know, outside of my dreams.
I can't believe you're actually going through with it.
What do you mean?
Oh, I can
pushing the
only
envelope,
imagine how
obviously,
artwork will take
but
care of
this
that
is
one.
pretty out there for you, Twilight.
What's out there about saving the most legendary ponies of all time from a thousands-year-old
It
prison?
just seems dangerous.
Well, nothing when you say it like that. Unless the most legendary ponies of all time knew what they were doing, and we shouldn't mess with it.
I'm sure Starswirl and the Pillars did the best they could back then, but magic has come a long way, mostly because of the work they did.
That's true, and you did get your wings from finishing one of Starswirl's spells.
Exactly.
But then I messed with one and nearly destroyed the universe, so...
Starlight, Starswirl the Bearded is the greatest wizard who ever lived. The chance to have him back in Equestria is worth the risk.
I'm kind of with Starlight here. Like, this is a dangerous thing. You're bringing back ponies from another
You're the only one to find her
time
because
into a
this
modern
here shovel
world.
says otherwise.
Honestly, you two. Not everything is a competition. But Miss Maine's flower is by far the most attractive of the artifacts.
You're just saying that because you didn't have to scuba dive in a pit of green slime to get yours.
Or move a flash beehive.
Good work, everyone.
I don't know.
Let's do this.
It reminds me of a fanfic I read once before where Little Pip was brought into present-day Equestria, taken back to the past before the Bellfire bombs and the Mega Spell fell. Oh dear! Oh!
What? What has happened?
It worked. We brought you back.
That's not the only thing you brought back.
You and the others have been trapped in limbo for over 1,000 years, but I figured out how to get you home.
What? No, 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 no! You must undo what you've done!
What?
I had a feeling this was going to backfire.
I don't think I can.
You cannot bring us back!
But I did. I brought all the pillars back.
You cannot bring only the pillars back!
I knew it. They were going to bring it back too. Oh crap. Probably the worst evil they've faced so far. That's very interesting animation. Oh!
No!
Oh boy. To be continued. Oh boy. Okay. Now, for the review for this episode. Yes. Okay. Barry, there's a lot of different things here. First off, we finally get an introduction. We find out that Starswirl, pardon me, was connected to all these other characters. All these other characters from the past, the other characters that we saw, had connections with Starswirl. And every single one of them were connected. And they all worked together to there was another character that was supposed to, basically, that managed to steal all the artifacts and use them and became the Pony of Shadows. And this is really, really interesting because this is a lot of continuity here. We're going back to that episode where the characters were roaming around through the castle, and Rainbow, they were talking about the Pony of Shadows, and which that's kind of different though, because in the story that Applejack's told was that it was Luna, it was Nightmare Moon. But this is a different Pony of Shadow, so this is different from that. But all these characters that they had heard tales of from the past that they told in the Campfire Tales episode turns out to be real ponies. They were real, and it wasn't just made-up stories. That their stories had been passed down from generations of their bravery, their courage, their heroism, their sacrifice, their loyalty, and those stories have been passed down for generations. And we get to find out that we get to find out the story. We get to find out more here. That Starswirl the Bearded was, in fact, that Celestia and Luna did, in fact, that Starswirl the Bearded was their old teacher. And this book had slipped past them. This was an undiscovered book, and they, Sunburst discovered it. And this shocked the crap out of Luna and Celestia, because they discovered, you know, there's more to their past. And as it turns out, we knew that nobody had really ever made mention about what happened to Starswirl. But as it turns out, he disappeared along with the other ponies. And Twilight wanted to bring all the ponies, including Starswirl, back. She wanted to bring them back. It turns out there was all the characters sacrificed themselves to lock away an evil, and to lock away the evil Pony of Shadows, to lock him in a state of limbo, a realm, and he was locked away they were all locked away for 1,000 years in that state of limbo. And it's interesting because they were locked away for all that time. The evil wasn't defeated, but he was just locked away. Twilight wanted to try to bring all of them back, but I mean, she thought it would be really, really awesome to bring Starswirl back, and the other ponies as well. And the interesting thing here, of course, is you got two different perspectives. Starlight already knew. Starlight was having very second thoughts about it. She didn't trust it. She thought it was a bad idea. And honestly, I could relate to Starlight here, because the way that I kind of look at it, you're messing with the past. And I'm kind of having flashbacks to, like, back to the future here. Twilight wanted to bring the ponies back from ancient times, from the past, into the modern world. But Starlight figured that there was a major risk. She was very uncertain. Like, you were kind of messing with time. You were messing with the fabric of reality. And I was with Starlight on this. Like, it was the way I was thinking myself. It's too much of a risk. Like, you're bringing ponies back from an ancient time. They've been away for 1,000 years. Time has progressed so much within that time. Could they really adapt to the modern times? Imagine if you could go back and bring some of your ancestors back today. I mean, imagine them trying to adapt to a modern life, to 30, 40, I mean, just 30 or 40 years, let alone 1,000 years. Imagine if you could go back and bring some of your ancestors back. I mean, like decades, centuries. Could they really adapt? And that's what I was thinking about here. I mean, you have two different perspectives. Twilight believed that Equestria would be better with Starswirl back in modern times. But Starlight was afraid. I mean, she had had those past experiences with spells before, and she was afraid that it would backfire. And honestly, I don't think that Twilight was wrong here. At least, I don't think she was. She was excited. She wanted to try to bring that back. Starswirl was an inventor. He was a genius in the field of magic. He had a lot of ingenuity. He was an inventor. He had a lot of magical prowess, and there was a lot of his techniques regarding magic had been passed down to the centuries and had helped to advance magic capabilities to the modern times. Sunburst said that magic had progressed so much in that 1,000 years. Yes, and I do believe that Starswirl was the pioneer of that magic. But the same way that magic had been adapted, I mean, he might be still powerful, but even with what has been advanced to the point today, would he still be as powerful? And Twilight believed that Starswirl was brought back, that it would help make Equestria better, that it would be a better place. But honestly, I'm not really sure what the outcome is going to be. Like, for me watching this episode, I don't know if the outcome is going to be that all the characters are brought back, or if Twilight's going to learn that it's better to leave the past in the past. I don't know. I'm thinking more. I really don't know what the outcome is going to be. I would kind of think more that it was going to be that they're going to come into the present times, but then again, you're taking characters from that time period away from their... I mean, yeah, they made that sacrifice to save those around them, but you're bringing them into a modern world where, I mean, yeah, there might be a few of their descendants left, but for some of them, I mean, like, some of them don't even have any ancestors left. Especially the older ones. I mean, like, some of them might not even have ancestors anymore that's around. And so they're being brought back into a modern world where they don't have any living descendants. And you're literally the last of your bloodline. And you have to adapt to modern times. I'm just not really sure if that could really work. And again, I'm not really sure what's going to happen in the next episode, but again, I really love what they're doing with this already. I'm very excited for it, and I absolutely love it, because again, we haven't seen anything with Starswirl the Bearded. We've heard mentions about him, we've seen references and things like that, but we haven't, this is the first time we've actually seen him legit. And this is big. This is really big, because they're actually touching upon that and figuring out what happened to him. They discovered what happened to him, his last sacrifice to save ponykind, to save all of Equestria, and the sacrifices that everyone made, sacrificing themselves just to save those around them, to save the future. And yeah, this is big. This is really, really big. And I really love this episode already. I really love this episode. And so far, and there's a lot of references, a lot of things going on here. And again, I really love, like, story-wise, I really love this. This is really big, and I'm just going to have to wait and see what happens in the second thing. But, again, I really love this already. I love it that they're finally doing something with Starswirl the Bearded. We're going back to the past. We're talking about magic and the pioneer of today's modern magic. Love that, and we're getting some backstory, figuring out about these characters, and again, really loving what they're doing with this so far. So again, I absolutely love this. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens in the conclusion. But going over some of the aspects of the episode here, we'll learn that essentially all the characters here this was kind of like a past main six here with Starswirl and all the characters here. I'm trying to find my little slider. All the characters here, basically the past main six, and another character was trusted with these items, with these artifacts, who turned on them and used that power, corrupted him, became the Pony of Shadows. And some interesting things here, of course, is going back through the episode. One of the things I really love here is, okay, there's many different things I love about this episode, but there's some really cute things here, is the idea of how excited how excited that Twilight is. Like, Twilight is like she just got the keys to a candy store. I mean, this is a big history book right here. This is an ancient artifact. This is like the magnum opus of Starswirl's history, and she has her hooves on it. I guess imagine getting your hands on a first edition print comic book of your favorite comic. This will be you. This will be, pardon me, this will be anybody. And yeah, it's very, very adorable to see Twilight go full geek here, to go full nerdy bookworm about this history. And it's also interesting to see something. We don't really see moments whenever the characters has like the pencils in their mouths like that, just kind of chewing on the eraser. But again, it's a cute moment with Twilight, but I love it. It's really adorable. And again, Rainbow is confirmed book cat. Like I said, Rainbow is confirmed book cat. Again, we go back to this moment whenever Starlight was actually reading the old Ponish, and she makes a mention about the writing that her own is worse. I can relate to this. Like, I have very bad hand. I have, like, my cursive writing, terrible. But again, it's cute and it's natural, but it's really interesting that they were able to discover this location. And again, I loved whenever they introduced Ponehenge here. Again, this is a reference to Stonehenge, of course. But this old location, and this looks like it's part of the Everfree Forest. I'm just theorizing, I could be wrong. It wasn't a disclosed location, but we see these old runes, and again, it kind of makes me think about Skyrim. I can't help it. You know, you walk into a cave and there's runes on the wall, and suddenly you step over, and suddenly a blast of fire ice erupts around you. And like I said, at first, whenever Starlight first appeared, my first thought, again, Twilight is adorable. Like, she's meeting her idol. She's meeting her idol. She thinks she's meeting her idol from the past. Yeah, I would feel the exact same way if I saw some sort of hologram of Walt Disney standing before me. I would freak out. Or if I met Lauren Faust. Again, I would be exactly like Twilight. Just standing there like hamana, 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 hamana. And at first, whenever I saw this, I honestly thought that this was like a message, like a hologram, like a warning. Like a pre-recorded message. But it turns out the book had recorded that history of the last moments of the character sacrificing himself to banish the Pony of Shadows to a state of limbo. And then they discover that they have to go and get all these artifacts from different locations. And then we got a silly, sexy Pinky here. Pinky trying to just, yeah, silly, sexy Pinky here. And again, one thing that I couldn't help but notice, and again, we got that little filly to come back. We got this little filly here. This little filly who the CMCs were trying to help, who has like the bones cutie mark, who her parents thought she was going to be either a pirate or an axe murderer. And again, we can see her come back. I love it. She's adorable. I love her. And we get this woman who's really hard up on her history, that really thinks that all those were just stories. And here comes Applejack, who's like, yeah, turns out it's real. And I'm going to show y'all the truth. And who thinks, I mean, this woman thinks no pony could be that strong. No pony is going to be like Hercules. And then here's this rock comes loose, and again, look at the expression detail on Applejack's face. That moment of shock. And then Applejack, this, whoa, moment whenever she goes full on Hercules here, and she bucks this rock to Kingdom Come. And then that casual moment where she just stands there, and shoot, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get a good, and she just stretches her back leg, like, nothing to it. And this woman is like, the shit did I just witness? And again, okay, this other archaeological little filly over here, really cute as well. And it's interesting, like, I'm guessing this is like a school archaeological dig or something. Let's bring in other little characters here to like show them that's really cool. And just notice this little filly here doesn't seem to have a key mark, nor does this colt over here. So, but they have an interest in that, so that's cool. And again, that moment whenever that woman tells Applejack that it's just preposterous, and then Applejack hands this woman her butt to her on a silver platter, and that smile, like, y'all got something to say now? Again, I love that, and I can relate to that, honestly, because I do that. It's very much like the situation whenever someone is wrong. You know they're wrong. They think they're right. And then you provide evidence that shows that you're right. And then you're like, what do you got to say now, huh? Yeah, I'm like that. And then they discover this old tomb, and as it turns out, they find the shovel from there. And the interesting thing that I had to say as well before is it seems like every single character here is connected. You got this guy who's like Hercules, and he was about strength. Applejack is the strongest of the characters, and she was the one who retrieved the shovel. Rarity also goes to this village to find the village in mostly ruins, but to find the village is mostly overrun by weeds and just really badly kept. But there's one single flower that is still living, and it's the focus of this woman's attention. But Rarity manages to spruce up the place and really make it beautiful. And that's interesting because the original meadow was about beauty. She was about beauty because she sacrificed her own beauty to help her best friend. Rarity, I mean, she was generous in that. Rarity is also about beauty because of how she is. And you think back to before, in the very first episode of season 1, Rarity cut off her tail and used it to make a mustache for that sea serpent. Rarity also is about generosity, and Rarity was able to help beautify this place. And so we see that connection. There's that connection there. And so I can't help but wonder if these characters might be all of the main 6 ancestors. It's an interesting thought. There's no conclusive evidence to that, but it just kind of, I mean, like, there's no complete, like, DNA evidence, but it does kind of seem like, yeah, like that could be their ancestors. But again, an interesting thing is whenever we see this dude come back. I mean, this arrogant blowgeorge here. This arrogant blowgeorge who is just, you know, that self-absorbed, arrogant a-hole. And you know that school bully deals like, no, it's mine, suck it. And he decides to, he says he wants to race Spike instead of Rainbow Dash. My first thought was, yeah, okay, you're being a pansy, you're afraid you're going to get beat by a girl because you don't want Rainbow to race you. You'd rather race against another guy because you're afraid of getting beaten by a girl. Of course, he also thought Spike would lose and whatnot. Spike actually won. But then the guy didn't want to give it to him. You know, typical bully fashion, Spike won. This guy didn't want to give it to him, so he was just going to beat the crap out of him. He was just going to beat the crap out of Spike. Because, you know, it's a typical bully, you know, it's a typical bully mentality. Like, oh, I'll make a deal with you. You win, yada, yada, yada. But then you win, they're like, no, I'm changing the rules. You know, I win no matter what. I win no matter what. Even if you win, I win. Even if you win, you're still a loser because I still win. That's a typical bully mentality, and I can't stand people like that. And that's the kind of mentality this guy has here. Rainbow jumps in, and now the thing about Spike here is Spike was trying to use the whole, I'm the friendship ambassador for the dragons, etc. And honestly, I'm going to pass it off as Spike is still new to it. He's not mature enough to understand that that doesn't work with people. In reality, just like real life, you can be the friendship ambassador of your county, of your state, of your country. It don't mean jack. Nobody is going to listen to you whenever you say, I'm the friendship ambassador, get along. Nobody's going to do that because there are people whom you just can't get along with. I know that. There are people whom you just can't get along with no matter what, no matter how hard you try. And you just have to go on with your life and ignore those people. And Rainbow decides to she takes out for Spike and is like, Spike won, you lost, suck it. Then this guy decides to try to beat Rainbow, and Rainbow she cons the guy into leaving the shield behind. Rainbow uses her smarts, and she cons the guy into leaving the shield behind because it's going to weigh him down. Rainbow already knows she's going to take it and hightail it out of there. And, which honestly, Spike won fair and square, and it is an ancient artifact. I mean, it's not legally his, so yeah, Rainbow is totally free to take it. And the interesting thing is whenever this guy points out to this other arrogant jerk that this red dragon here, I forgot his name, told them that, and this guy reverses it. They told him, Spike told him the same thing, and then this guy's like, yo, that's what you told Spike and the pony, and so they told it back, they gave it back to you. And then just like your typical jerk, this guy pushes this other dragon away. You know, the typical, I can dish it out but can't take it deal. Somebody can say whatever to you, but whenever you reverse it and put the shoe on the other foot, they can't stand it. They're whining and crying. And again, Fluttershy gets the mask, from this other guy, and it begins to glow, and Fluttershy sees that, and that makes me think if there's a connection. It begins to glow, and it makes me wonder if there's a connection here, because like I said, it begins to glow as Fluttershy is holding it. And it makes me wonder if maybe Fluttershy could be, if maybe it's glowing because it's like the old elements. Like, these are the old elements of harmony. That's another theory. Like, these are the old elements of harmony, only they were artifacts. Or if these items are connected, because like I said, genetically, these characters, the main 6, are related to these ancient ponies, to these older ponies. That's another theory. Or maybe it's just because the mask or the artifacts anticipates what's going to happen in the future. Don't know. But another interesting thing, we get to see Daring Do and these other characters back in this temple. Again, I really love the adorable design of these two mares here, over here on the right. And then that moment whenever Daring whenever that shoot, I forgot what that's called. That thing, I forgot what that's called. I've seen it before. Starts to fall into that, and Daring has to grab hold of it because Pinky is on the other end, and you hear this flushing sound as Pinky comes up from the depths, holding this bandana. Oh, sorry, blindfold. And Pinky was looking for the blindfold, and then she grabs it. And yeah, Pinky just is standing on this green slime. She's holding this thing in her mouth. I can only imagine there's going to be artwork of Pinky turning into like a ghoul from Fallout, or maybe becoming irradiated or something. And Twilight makes it mention about the thing about Starlight outside of her dreams. You know where I'm going with that one. You know where I'm going with that one. And then they place all the artifacts there, and all the characters are brought back from their ancient thing. And it's interesting because every single character, I mean, like, this guy, Applejack saves this one dude from a rock landing on the thing, landing on the pedestal. Meadowbrook lands there, and Fluttershy grabs her and pulls her off as well before that rock falls down. It just works like that with every character saves one of those other characters. Except for Starswirl. He just landed there with no rock above him. Then this moment whenever Starswirl is like, you cannot bring us back. And Twilight is beginning to feel regretful. She's like, oh crap, what did I do? I'm sorry, what did I do? Like, Twilight had good intentions. She did. And that's why, to me, Twilight is not at fault here. She had earnest intentions in this. She didn't have malevolent intent. She brought these characters back because she thought it would be good. She had honest intent. Then, as it turns out, the darkness also came with it. And the Pony of Shadows comes back. An interesting thing about this arrival of the Pony of Shadows, this is like this looks like a different animation style than we see in the rest of the show. Just the way that it handles, it's very, very different. The way that this animation handles whenever the Pony of Shadows takes transformation, it's very, very different. It's very, very different than what we see throughout the rest of the show. I mean, this is a very different animation. It looks different. It might be created in the exact same program, but it just is done in a different style. And it looks good. I mean, it looks good. It's different. But, of course, then Pony Shadows comes back. And Twilight, Starlight, and Sunburst are all like, oh my gosh, we done goofed. We done goofed. But again, I really love this already, and I'm very excited to see what they're going to do in the next episode, which I'm going to check out here. But again, I really love it, and again, I'm very happy that they're doing something with with Starswirl. And I'm also really happy that Starlight and Sunburst are part of this. Not sure what's going to happen, but the first half of the story is over. We got the second half to go, and I'm very uncertain of what's going to happen, what they're going to do with the other characters. I don't know what's going to happen. But again, the next episode will be the final episode of Season 7. The final episode. There's a part of me that wants to check it out, but then there's a part of me that doesn't, that just wants to prolong it, but I know I can't stay out of the loop. But again, I love this episode already. I love this first part already. I love it. I love the story, what they're doing with the continuity, the callbacks, and again, it seems like the the main 6 could be related to those older, to the ponies of each of those different time periods. I want to believe that they are actually somehow related, possibly, or they're just connected. But again, I really love what they're doing with that already. It's very cool to see this. I don't know what's going to happen in the next episode, but again, thank you again, Hasbro, DHX. Thank you, everybody that worked on this first part. Really, really love it. Thank you all so much. I absolutely love this. Thank you so much for all the hard work and effort and just the story, everything that you did for this. And again, thank you guys again for joining me. Hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you guys in part 2 of the season finale. Take care.